Hello, everybody. So this is part two of the Arrow collection. So on to the sort of standard editions now. Obviously, I do have them in alphabetical order, but I see if I can fit Wild Things back in, being as I bashed it off the shelf in the last one. Yeah, I do have them in alphabetical, but I keep all the like special editions through A to Z. Then I come back to the normal jewel cases. Obviously, the 4Ks and stuff are all mixed in. So yeah, you got 12 Monkeys, Terry Gilliam film, Brad Pitt, and Bruce Willis, Madeline Stowe. And you've got The Addiction. Only got this one yesterday, or at least at the time of recording. Don't know when I'll upload this. So filmed by Abel Ferrara. He obviously does his version of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think it's just called Body Snatchers. Then he does Driller Killer. He's got quite a few good films. I've heard good things about this. This one's on 4K. After Midnight. So kind of newer, when I say newer release, a year or two ago, but I mean, rather than a lot of these are kind of old cult films from the 80s that Arrow are now releasing. This came out like the year Arrow released it, I think. American Werewolf in London, John Landis, sure everybody knows that. Absolute classic, one of the best werewolf films or creature films in general. Do want to get the big box, sort of this style, but of that, and then I'll trade that one in. The Andromeda Strain. So I remember watching this as a kid, but I haven't watched it as an adult, but it's like a sci-fi from like the 50s. I can't actually see a date. Oh, 1971. Oh, I thought it was a bit older than that. Tale of Two Sisters. So Kim Ji-woon, that does Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Oh, sorry, Good, the Bad, and the Weird. Obviously, Tale of Two Sisters, A Bittersweet Life. He does some really good films, but yeah, really creepy Korean kind of psychological ghost story. Takashi Miike's Audition, possibly his best film in my opinion. Quite disturbing stuff. Audrey Rose, I think this is an underrated, slept-on one. So this star, who's it actually directed by? Robert Wise. I think I have seen other things by him. Then obviously it stars Anthony Hopkins. But yeah, it's a really good sort of psychological, not really a ghost story or possession, but it does have some kind of intrigue. Obviously those are Blu-ray. Basket Case on 4K, Frank Henenlotter. Think that came out this year. It feels like it, but like I say, this year it's just gone so fast. It's all blended into one. It's hard to remember. Battle Royale. So yeah, one of the first foreign cinema I'd ever heard of. Yeah, my mates were blown away when we first seen that when we were like 16 or so. Japanese. Who's the director? Is it Fuji Nakasawa? Kinju Fukasawa. Behind Convent Walls. It's not as pornographic as it looks. It's about nuns in a convent and they all start being naughty. And they do some kind of like sex stuff they're not meant to do, but it's not like graphic or nothing. But yeah, it's actually more entertaining than I thought it would be. Picked it up, so I think I got it cheap, or I had like a HMV gift card thing, and there weren't much else new releases that I didn't have, so I picked it up to see and thought, I could trade it in the CEX if it wasn't good. But no, it's actually usually not my kind of film, like a softcore kind of nunsploitation. But no, it was actually quite enjoyable. The beta test meant to be really good, but I haven't actually watched this yet. Obviously, yet both on Blu-ray. The Beyond, so one of Lucio Fulci's best. Probably my favourite out of that, and Zombie Flesh Eaters. Beyond Reanimator. Is it Stuart Gordon? No, it's Brian Yuzna. Nice slipcase on that. I'm sure Marcus, Big Boy Beza know all about the slipcase, slippy action. Yeah, I picked this one up the other day in CX, about £8 or so in good condition, so I was happy with that. Big Trouble in Little China. No, a lot of people ain't a massive fan of this as a John Carpenter film, but I first seen that when I was a kid and always found it really fun and enjoyable, kind of martial arts creature feature comedy with Kim Cattrall in it when she was younger, with nice green eyes, and obviously Kurt Russell and Black Moon Rising. I think the script to this is written by John Carpenter. It stars Tommy Lee Jones and another one with Linda Hamilton. Obviously from Terminator fame and Children of the Corn. Blade of the Immortal. I think this is another it's Japanese, but I think it's another Takashi Miike one. It's a steel book, or maybe I should have showed it in a bit more detail. Yeah, it's a really nice steel book. Must be all the people they've slaughtered on the back. What's it say? Save her life will take 1,000 others. So yeah, really good sort of sword play, martial arts. All right, let's hurry up a bit with these because there's still quite a lot of them. The Burbs. So up there with Gremlins and Small Soldiers is my favourite Joe Dante films. But yeah, one of my favourites. Got my younger sister into this and she loves it now. But yeah, it's kind of like comedy, horror. Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, Rick Dockerman, Corey Feldman. Obviously directed by Joe Dante. What year? Does it say 1988? Oh, it was. But yeah, genuinely got some funny bits. But yeah, I just love it how the Klopeks are like living next to them, and because they do things different, they're kind of scared of them and they think they're ghouls, and you don't really know if they are, and it keeps switching, and it's got some like twists. But yeah, I really love The Burbs. The Burning, one of my favourite slashers ever. Directed by Tony Maylam. Sorry, I thought I was showing it then. But I'm not sure if I've seen much else with him, but I think it's got music performed by Rick Wakeman, really good score. I think he used to be in Wizard, Rick Wakeman. He's like a genius on the keyboards. And then Tom Savini does the special effects. But yeah, for me, one of the best camp slashers, better than Friday the 13th. Sorry, Friday the 13th fans. Burnt Offerings. They're quite a creepy old slow one with Oliver Reed. Nearly 2 hours, 116 minutes, 1976. It's a bit with a swimming pool is all I'm going to say is one of the most memorable scenes. City of the Living Dead by Lucio Fulci. So this has been released on a nice 4K box set, a bit like Tremors, but I missed the boat on it and I just can't find it anywhere since. I'm hoping to come across that secondhand in CEX in good condition and I'll snap it up. Class of Newcomb High, so a Troma one, a bit silly, but I do like to have some of these old white style Arrow because those were like the first releases they did. Climax. So I always say his name wrong, but is it Gaspar Noé? Gaspar Noé? So yeah, he does Irreversible. Lot of disturbing French films. I won't go too much into the discography just because I'm trying to get this done a bit faster. Cold Light of Day. Filmed by Fiona Louise, based on the killings of Des Nielsen. There was a real serial killer in, I think it was London in England, in an apartment block. Really grainy, kind of quite graphic when he sort of chops up the bodies and things without giving a spoiler. It is quite gory stuff. Creepshow 2. Then when this first came out, it spoke to the guy at HMV. I think the same happened with Exorcist 3 when it originally came out, where it kind of got recalled or pulled straight away, so I couldn't get it. Didn't think I'd get it and then picked it up. I think it was in HMV a few months later when it got reissued. I think you could get it with a nice slipcover, which unfortunately I didn't get. But yeah, I love the artwork on that. Probably not quite as good as Creepshow 1, but I do enjoy it. Chronicles of Riddick. This was like this year. So this and Pitch Black are any Vin Diesel films I really like. This is a 4K. See if I can, show you the top of it. Oh, bit glary, but yeah, really nice artwork on that. Cruising. This is about to get a 4K release. William Friedkin film with Al Pacino. Haven't watched this yet, but I have heard it's a lot of it sort of, he's basically looking through like the gay scene in all the gay clubs and that for this like killer. And my mate said he watched it and he found it quite hard to watch. Not that he's sort of like homophobic, but he said a lot of the scenes in the gay bar with men kissing, he just kind of found it quite uncomfortable to watch, really. Yeah, I'll probably have to watch it before I decide whether to upgrade it onto the 4K, where I think is good enough. But obviously, William Friedkin did The Exorcist, which is amazing. But then he did Bug with Ashley Judd, which I found quite boring. Daniel Isn't Real, so Arnie's son in this is a really good actor. Quite a disturbing, messed up film. But again, one of the newer Arrow releases. So every now and then, what year did it come out? 2019. So yeah, every now and then Arrow will release a film that's sort of new out, put it straight out rather than, wait 20 years and release an old cult one like they usually do. Dark Blue with Kurt Russell, directed by Ron Shelton. Not gonna lie, I found that one a bit boring. One of my least favourite Kurt Russell films that I've seen. Move a bit 'cause my knees are aching, so I've had to go down on the floor to show these. Day of the Dead, this old nice white edition. George A. Romero, it's my favourite. I prefer that to Night and Dawn of the Dead. Dead End Drive-In. was really surprised how fun this is. Really cult-like Australian film where basically all the teenagers go to a drive-in, and because the government's had enough of them, they basically just trap them there and then take their car wheels off and stuff, and then say, sorry, all the youths have to stay in this big drive-in kind of area. Deep Red, Dario Argento in this nice old school, what's it Marcus calls it, like a window case. So I know Marcus has started collecting those, so I've been keeping an eye out for him. But yeah, I got that one quite a while ago. I think it's only like £8 in CX in good condition. Demons 1, Demons 2, I think they're both done by Lamberto Bava on 4K. Donnie Darko, Richard Kelly film. Yeah, I really used to love this when I was younger. I was blown away when I first seen this. Yeah, it's just on standard Blu-ray. I think you can get it in a big box in that style, and more recently the 4K's come out. Don't Go in the House, one of the best video nasties in my opinion. Directed by Joseph Ellison. Yeah, it's a bit more deep of a character study than I was expecting. Let me move again because my knees are actually seizing up. Yeah, in this room I've just got hard floor that I'm knelt on. Do need to get this carpeted really, but it means moving all the films again. Or the cabinet, should I say. Dream Demon, director's cut. Yeah, really underrated, I think, this one by Harley Coakless. It's kind of, you could say, not Nightmare on Elm Street rip-off, but inspired by it. But yeah, oh yeah, he does Black Moon Rising that we showed earlier. But yeah, starring Timothy Spall, Gemma Redgrave, and then, what's the guy from Crocodile Shoes? Can we see his name? Jimmy Nell. But yeah, I was quite surprised by that one. It was better than I thought it would be. Eaten Alive, Toby Hooper one. I think I got that one in CX for about £6 second hand. Edge of Sanity of Anthony Perkins is meant to be set in Victorian London during the time of Jack the Ripper, but he's like Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. Haven't watched it yet, but heard good things. Edge of the Axe, I think that's a Spanish slasher. I think it did originally come with a slipcase, which I didn't get. I think I got that in the Arrow cell. Enter the Void. So yeah, another one by Gaspar Noé that I said was a messed up kind of. I think he's Argentinian, but he releases his films in French language. Evil Ed, really underrated, I think, this one. Really fun kind of creature flick. I was going to look who it's directed by, can't see. Exorcist 3. So I have got this in the Exorcist Blu-ray box set. And then I had it on the standard Arrow in this kind of jewel case. And then I've now picked it up in the 4K. See if I can get the slipcase out to show you with one hand. Yeah, one of my favourite horror films, The Exorcist 3, one of the best jump scares ever. Yeah, so sorry, that one was out this year. Flatliners, out a few years ago. Really underrated film, I think. What's he called? Joel Schumacher. He does Batman and Robin and 8mm. Flowers in the Attic. So yeah, I remember my mum used to read the book to this when I was a kid. I watched it around my mate's house on a sleepover, but none of us really understood it. But like a kind of family drama. I think I got that in the Arrow sale for about £8. The Funhouse, another Toby Hooper one. I got that in CX second hand about £6 a few months ago. So yeah, the Funhouse, Eaten Alive, and were video nasties. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't think it was ever on the official list, which is weird because it's the strongest out of the three. The Guyver, in a nice slipcase with Mark Hamill. I have to watch it again, but not going to lie, I did kind of, I wouldn't say boring, but yeah, it wasn't great. Harpoon, this is another really recent Arrow release, really enjoyed that one, quite a disturbing twist in it. Some like young kids on a boat. I say young kids, like young adults, teenagers. Happiness of the Katakuris by Takeshi Miike. Also got that on Tartan Asia Extreme. Sure everybody knows that one. Hell Comes to Frogtown with Rowdy Roddy Piper. I won't talk about these too much. I'm going to try and get this under 20 minutes if I can. Hound of the Baskervilles, based on a novel by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I think I got that £6 second hand to see it. Bit of a story behind this one, The Invasion. Kind of bought it by accident. It sounds weird, but I remember Stuart George's Home Movies spoke about it on one of his videos. He ranked The Invasion of the Body Snatchers films, and he had that the lowest. And then I think Roy Barrett from Blue Roy Movies said he didn't enjoy it. But even though I'd seen him talk about it, I didn't realise it was one of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I was thinking it was a different film. I swear during the 2000s there was a thriller, maybe not with Daniel Craig, but with Nicole Kidman. That was meant to be really good. But yeah, I paid about 20 for this, and I can trade it in on CEX. Obviously, trade in rather than cash for about 13, so I won't lose too much. I might watch it first, see what I think of it. But yeah, I've not heard great things across the board of it. I See You. Yeah, it's a bit scratched on the front cover. That's why this one was like 6, whereas usually about 8 or 10. But yeah, I heard it's a really good sort of tight thriller. I think it was originally on like Netflix. Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway. Sorry, yeah, that's a Blu-ray. Invasion was 4K. Yeah, I spoke about it in my weirdest films ever. Didn't really enjoy it, but it is fucking batshit crazy. Nice little slipcover. Killer Clowns in Outer Space. This one out of print, about £32 secondhand in CEX. I've got like the 2-disc version. Yeah, really fun. I'm sure everybody knows that. King of New York, got this on the original white label, the old Arrow style. I do enjoy it, but yeah, it's not one of my favourite gangster films. But I will say, when they get shot, the way their bodies like bounce off the floor is really good. Kolobos, it's kind of like Saw crossed with Big Brother. I think it's a Greek film, but yeah, it's pretty underrated sort of slasher, I would say. Lake Michigan Monster. I think this one's in black and white, even though it's modern, but it's got a really good jump scare and a few funny bits, but it's a very weird. Didn't really enjoy it that much. Last House on the Left in 4K. This is the remake, which I probably prefer to the original. Original was obviously an important film and a video nasty, but when you watch it now, it's kind of not, I wouldn't say it's badly made, but obviously because it's old and aged, it isn't really disturbing. I mean, the assault scenes are very long and gratuitous, go on longer than they need to be. I think that's what upset the censors, but yeah, you could argue some of those old video nasties are sort of done so, sounds harsh, but done so badly that they're not disturbing, they're just kind of funny. Some of them you watch and you're like, how did people get offended by some of these? Like Last Starfighter in 4K, another release this year. Haven't actually got around to watching that. I think I watched it as a kid. I remember seeing like it in the video shop, and a lot of people said it's up there with like Flight of the Navigator as like a classic 80s one. Last Video Store. This only was available on Blu-ray, but it is a new release, only came out a few months ago. Yeah, really enjoyed that. Really fun sort of throwback comedy horror. I know Ash from Popcorn and Horror really enjoyed that one. Had it in his like top watches of the year. Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins. Sure everybody knows this. Who is it actually directed by? John Mackenzie? Yeah, one of the best British gangster films. There's a double set with that and Mona Lisa, which I've seen in CEX secondhand, but they wanted about 30. And now a while ago they released that in its on 4K. I think it's also done in a big box on its own, so I might try and upgrade that one. Loop Track. This is a newer one. Came out, felt like a few months ago, probably August. Haven't watched it yet, but heard it's a good psychological kind of thriller horror. Lords of Chaos. Story about black metal. So some black metal artists, probably in the 90s in Norway, were murdering people and burning churches. And it's a story of that with, what's his name? Rory Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's brother. If you're interested in black metal, then it's good to watch. But yeah, it's quite a dreary, depressing, kind of disturbing film. Lover's Lane. So never seen this back in the day, but this is in the ilk of like Scream. I know what he did last summer. Kind of late 90s slasher. Yeah, I think I picked that one up in the sale again for about £9. A lot of these jewel case kind of ones, unless they're new out, I always try and pick them up in the Arrow sale. I wouldn't want to pay £18 for like, I don't know, say Matinee. Well, and even though it's really good, I just don't think it's worth that. Lux Eternae, I think you pronounce it. And again, another Gaspar Noé film. Charlotte Gainsbourg and Beatrice Dow. It's basically like they're filming a real film and it's the behind the scenes, but it's just wild. Madman. So yeah, another one of my favourite slashers. It's up there. Madman Mars, I think they call him. Yeah, Madman Mars. Does it tell me? Oh, sorry, Bagler. Who directs it? I've had that one for years. I think it has been released on 4K since, but haven't bothered upgrading. Major Dundee. Haven't watched this. Sam Peckinpah, that does... Oh, the mental block. What's the name of the film with Dustin Hoffman? Straw Dogs. But yeah, I heard it's kind of quite close to Indiana Jones in like a kind of fun adventure film, so looking forward to that. The Mangler, Robert Englund, based on a Stephen King story. I think this is really underrated. Not a great film, but so maligned. A lot of people say it's like one of the worst Stephen King adaptations, and I didn't think it was that bad. The foreman in it is a really bad actor, but the rest of the people are good. 4K of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with Robert De Niro and Kenneth Branagh. Is it directed by Kenneth Branagh? Yeah, I thought so. He does that newest... What's it called? The Poirot, like, train murders one. Yeah, got that in CEX. I think it was priced wrong, so it was only like 6 or 8 on 4K. Then I took it to the till. The guy was making a face and pulling the sticker off angrily, so I think he Didn't like it, that it was priced wrong. Probably was meant to be like 12 or so. Matinee, another Joe Dante one. Really good kind of throwback B-movie one. Right, I'm not going to get it under 20 minutes, but there's no point doing a third part just to show like less than one shelf, so I'll fly through them. Mega Time Squad, really fun martial arts, low budget, silly New Zealand film. Microwave Massacre, really low budget and silly, but I think it's actually funny. It's got a comedian in it. Let me quickly look over his name. Jackie Vernon. Don't know his stand-up, but he is really funny in that. Mute Witness, 4K, really underrated thriller, really enjoy that one. My Stepmother is an Alien, haven't watched this since I was a kid. This is Blu-ray, Dan Aykroyd and Kim Basinger, directed by Richard Benjamin. Yeah, I used to love Kim Basinger in anything when I was younger. Necromantic, so obviously I showed Necromantic too, so another Jorg Butger. Really disturbing, messed up film, but low budget. Kind of, not really that disturbing because it's just a bit kind of silly. Night Siren, quite a recent release, haven't got round to watching this. It is on Blu-ray. Meant to be a good sort of witches coven film, I think. Pandemonium. Heard this is really weird, sort of art house. Again, released a few months ago, only on Blu-ray with a slipcase. One of my favourite Wes Craven films, People Under the Stairs. I think that's really underrated. Phenomena, quite an underrated Dario Argento with Jennifer Connelly from Labyrinth. Police Tactics, got that one about £6 in CEX. Kinji Fukasaku. I think that was the name of the guy that did Battle Royale. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pulse. Kiyoshi Kurosawa, another really good Japanese horror. Excuse me. Raw Head Rex, Clive Barker. It's kind of a bad film, but it's enjoyable. But the creature don't look great. But yeah, set in Ireland and the countryside, and that's really good. Rollerball, James Caan. I say futuristic, but I mean the stuff they were showing then sort of isn't really futuristic by today's standards. You know what I mean when you see it. But yeah, really good sort of futuristic sports, quite brutal when they're playing the game and that. They go around on like what do you call it? A velodrome, like fighting and stuff. Ronin by Robert De Niro, John Frankenheimer. Haven't seen this in years, but I remember I used to love that as a kid. Kind of like a modern day samurai sort of film. Well, crime film with guns and that, but obviously a Ronin is a samurai that's lost his master, I'm pretty sure. Pitch Black, so the other Vin Diesel film I like. So that is on Blu-ray. Don't know if it's come out on 4K, but obviously I've got Chronicles of Riddick on 4K. Wreck, so one of my favourite horrors in general, one of the scariest, creepiest, great jump scare. Favourite found footage film, one of my favourite Spanish horrors. Yeah, brilliant film. Wreck. Satanic Panic, 70s kind of throwback horror, even though it's come out recently. But yeah, really funny and fun. Kind of had a feeling a bit like, what was that one with? I'll see if I can remember by the end of the video. Like I said, I'm trying to hurry up through these. The Sender, Roger Christian film. Yeah, good on in general, but there's one scene when all I'm going to say is they put like a electric thing on his head and all the whole room goes in slow. Yeah, you'd have to see it to believe it, but crazy. David Cronenberg Shivers. So one of the older releases, one of his first films. Do need to get Rabid, but that's out of print and expensive. Mario Bava's Shock. So yeah, got this one. I think it was second hand for about £8 in CEX. Silent Running with Bruce Dern. Late 70s. Sci-fi, really good. Really sort of stands up today with subject matter. Won't go into it. 16 Candles, John Hughes film. Molly Ringwald. Not as good as Breakfast Club, but similar kind of vein of sort of drama. Sleep. Haven't watched this one yet, but heard it's really creepy and weird. Nice slipcover. This was released this year. Blu-ray. Society. Had this for years, but I want to upgrade it to the big box with like a pink. So all this is sort of raised. What's the word? Laminated. Stormy Monday. I know I spoke to Sammy G about this one. It was made in his hometown, I'm pretty sure he said. Melanie Griffith, Tommy Lee Jones, Sting, Sean Bean. Sure, Sean Bean dies in it. Heard it's got a jazz soundtrack. I'm not a massive fan of jazz, so maybe that's why I've been putting it off a little while. The Stuff. What's the guy's name? Larry Cohen. Haven't seen this yet, but heard it's one of the craziest sort of body horror. Bit like The Blob. The Stylist. I think that came out last year. It's a new release, but yeah, I was really impressed by that. Quite brutal, but a really good story. Take Back the Night. Bit of like an allegory for sexual assault kind of film with like a monster. Well done, but yeah, not best film I've seen recently from the Arrow releases. Terraformars. I think it's Takashi Miike's sort of B-movie version of Starship Troopers. Haven't actually got around to watching it. That Cold Day in the Park. Robert Altman film. I've heard some people say this is really interesting and well made, and then some people said it was quite boring. But yeah, once I get around to watching it, I don't really trade many of these arrows in. If I upgrade them, then I'll trade in the sort of, if I upgrade it to 4K, I'll trade in the Blu-ray. But even these films I don't like, it sounds kind of, what's the word, shallow, but I just like to have as many Arrow releases as I can in the collection. To Live and Die in LA, directed by William Friedkin, so probably similar to Cruising. I thought this was a Michael Mann film, to tell you the truth. It's the guy that stars in it. William Peterson. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Again, I found that one a little bit boring. Tupac's then a song about To Live and Die in LA that's based on. Tommy, that's how you pronounce it. Got this one, only about a month ago, so another new release. I think it only came out on Blu-ray. Japanese horror. Heard really good things about it. Looks really interesting, the write-up on the back. Trick or Treat this year. Just came out Halloween a couple of months ago. Nice 4K. Yeah, had this on DVD, which was out of print and quite rare. And been waiting a long time for it to get an upgrade. So happy that came out Halloween. True Romance. You can get that on 4K and you can get the big box. I just got this one in the Arrow sale for about £9. I think I watched it when I was a kid. I do like Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's brother. But all I can remember is the dialogue in it was amazing. I think Quentin Tarantino might write the dialogue. Two Witches, so again, another new release, not just in terms of it's come out this year. I felt like it was this year, but a new film. So like I say, Arrow, obviously, tomorrow they could announce they're releasing, let's say, Leviathan with Peter Weller from the 80s, which is an old film, but every now and then the film will come out at the cinema, and then, the first release it gets, rather than coming out onto like standard DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, it will come out, get picked up by Arrow. I think they've only been doing that a bit more recently. Waterworld by Kevin Costner. So I know this is a maligned film, flopped at the box office, but the Ulysses cut does make it a lot better. But again, I didn't really pick this one up because I love it. It's not a great film, but I think I got that. Is it in the Arrow sale? Oh no, someone sold it to me. Can't remember now, but I paid like £9 for that like a month. I think my mate had picked it up, hated it, and then he paid like 20 for it new. Few days after it came out when he watched it. He was like, I'll chuck it to you for like, it's either £10 or I like swapped it for like computer game. I can't remember now, but yeah, it's not as bad as people say, I don't think, Waterworld. But yeah, if you did hate the original, maybe watch the Ulysses cut. Is a lot different. We Are the Flesh. Haven't got around to this, but heard it's a really disturbing, extreme Mexican film. Contains strong sex, violence, gore, and sexual violence. Weird Science. John Hughes again, obviously also does Home Alone, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, a few I can't think off the top of my head. Kelly LeBrock, really sexy in it. Yeah, kind of like a sort of Frankenstein 80s. Never watched this in the 80s as a kid, but wish I did, because when I watched it recently, I was like, yeah, that would have been well nostalgic. I'd have really enjoyed that as a kid. The Wind with Meg Ryan, really good kind of atmospheric slasher. I was quite impressed by that. The Woman, I think it's been released on 4K since. Quite a brutal, disturbing film by Lucky McKee. Then, last one of the normal, so Zombie Flesh Eaters by Lucio Fulci, one of my favourite horror films, one of my favourite Lucio Fulci. And then I guess there's a little bonus with Shovey, so some old DVDs I've still got in the old white packaging, Combat Shock. Really low budget, some guy comes back, Vietnam vet, and some messed up stuff happens, all I'm going to say. It is low budget, but it still works and it's quite disturbing. Street Trash, sure everybody's heard of this, like a body melt film. Absolute craziness and quite funny. The Beyond, so this is in a nice window box that Marcus likes, but it is on DVD. Still got all the like postcards and stuff in. Then Zombie Flesh Eaters on this old, so yeah, those four are DVD. Those two I don't have in any other versions, so I will keep them. Those I've been thinking of trading in, now I have them on Blu-ray, but at the same time they are two of my favourites. I really like these editions. So yeah, that's the whole Arrow collection shown. Thank you everybody for watching. Let me know if there's any questions you've got on these or any you've got. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of them if they haven't come out this year. Right, thank you for watching. Sorry it's a long video again. But yeah, at least I cut it into 2 parts rather than do an hour-long epic. Thank you everybody, bye.